Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me tonight. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a couple of little penguins with the Christmas tree. It should be a really fun project. I'm going to try to keep it fairly easy so you can do this with your kids. And I've got my husband Mark with me for this video.
Hey there, everybody.
He's going to be man in chat for us during the live show, so let's get started. All right, so here is my example. The cuteness factor is pretty much off the charts for this one. He was really fun. Of course, you know I like to paint birds if you've been around my channel before, so penguins are real fun, and this is a good time of year to pull out the cute, you know, with the...
Yeah, the people in the chat before we started were already commenting on how cute they were.
Yeah, so. Yeah. So, this will be a fun one. I'm sure you'll hear cute a few million times during the video. Let me go over our brushes really quick. What?
I thought you were going to say paints.
Oh, well, you can ready. But you can put the paints too if you want.
There you go.
All right, thanks. All right, so I'm going to use a large flat for the background. And then for some of the tree details, I'll use like kind of a medium flat. This is a number 4 bright. This one's the number 12 bright in the Princeton. And then I'll probably use a number 2 flat for some of the scarving. And 3/8 inch angle for around the penguins to fill in some. A number 2 bright, possibly. These two can kind of be interchangeable, so if you don't have one. But so kind of large, medium, and small flat brush. Possibly like an angle if you have it. If you don't have that one, you don't have to. And then like a couple of rounds. So I've got a really thin round for the lining work. But if you're working with kids, I would probably use a marker that's like a water-soluble marker. Sharpie would work, like a fine line Sharpie or something like that. So it'll probably be easier for them to do these lines than with a brush. So.
It sounds like you're equating children with your husband. Just saying.
Children.
And air quotes.
Air quotes. All right, so I'm not sure if we'll use all these brushes, but you know these are good ones to have. And then for the splattering, you can use a fan brush or like a toothbrush. And then I forgot to put some little rosy cheeks on them, so I think I'm going to use my Stippler to do that. This is a Deerfoot Stippler. So yeah. That'll be that, and let's go over our palette real quick. This is carbon black, titanium white, cadmium red medium, cadmium orange, cadmium yellow medium, phthalo green yellow shade, phthalo blue green shade, ultramarine blue, dioxazine purple, and burnt sienna. A pretty limited palette. You could use craft paints for this if you don't have the heavy body acrylics that I'm using, but all the materials that I've got listed, including my notebook, are down in the description. So you can find those links down there if you want to pick those up. And a little bit of the money that you, from your purchase goes to help our channel. So that's kind of nice. Even if you don't buy what's listed, go buy something else. So if you know you're going to buy something on Amazon this
Do Christmas, all your Christmas shopping, yeah.
Hint, hint. Go through a link.
Click a link.
All right, so let's do our background here. I'm going to grab a little bit of my ultramarine blue, and I always kind of pull from the side of the paint puddle and then sort of find a clean spot on my palette to push it down into my brush. And I don't want to get it all the way up into this part of the silver, but maybe about halfway. So push it nice and firmly down onto your palette and kind of turn it over both ways so you have it nice and loaded thick. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit of white from the side and just kind of mix that in. Maybe pick up a little bit more of that dark blue and mix it in. And I don't need to have these completely blended all the way because I want some little streaks in my sky. So I'm going to just kind of do my sky back and forth in sort of a horizontal motion. Sort of sweeping back and forth. If you're using a dry canvas, you can wet it down a little bit with a spray bottle. That will help. I'm using a 9 by 12 inch canvas gesso panel, so it's a firm support. But you could use this on any size canvas you wanted. I thought, you know, it might be kind of cute if you were to do this with your kids, to give them each like a small ornament size canvas and let them each kind of individualize their little ornaments. Do one penguin each or something like that on it. This definitely can be simplified quite a lot. So, you know, if you don't want it to be quite as complicated, you could leave out the tree. You could leave out even the lights and just, you know, do the face. You know, maybe just do this part on a canvas or something like that. Or just do, you know, one long ways on a canvas this way and not have the tree. So don't feel like you have to do the whole thing. It's going to, you know, probably be a little bit more complicated than you might want to tackle with. All right, I'm going to grab a little bit of phthalo blue now, add that. I just picked up a little bit of it and kind of pulled it to that puddle that I was making there. And I'm going to add that kind of down towards the bottom here and in the middle. I'm going to pick up a little bit more white and start streaking in some white through the middle. And now as I get down toward the bottom, I'm going to start sort of sweeping a little bit more side to side in a sort of more cupped motion maybe, so that I get, maybe looks like some snow drifts back there. Pick up a little bit more white. Continue this. I've got all these colors on my brush now, so they're all kind of blending. And I'm just working from the top down quickly so that each layer as I move down is still a little bit wet. And that way I can kind of blend out my sky as I move down the canvas. Push that down in there. Push down, get some of that darker blue around the sides. There we go. And at the bottom. And let me pick up a good amount of white here, and I'm going to just streak in this middle area.
Well, we got the usual world tuning in tonight.
Nice.
New Zealand is joining us, and
Like it.
all across the U.S. and Canada. And
Welcome, everybody.
And Nat said in chat that she just finished up the Yosemite Chapel today.
Ooh.
It looks great, and that she couldn't have done it without your video. So
Aw.
thank you.
You are so welcome. That was a painting that we did last year. That's Christmas about this time. You know, Christmas time or so, winter time. Yeah, that was a fun one. I enjoyed that. I'm glad you did too. All right. Probably don't need to be messing with this up here. What'll happen if you do that, if you mess with it too much while it's still drying, what'll happen is it'll lift off the color. So you really don't want to do what I just did and mess with it. Because it's getting sticky now. I can feel it getting sticky, and it'll stick to your brush and it'll just lift right off the canvas. So if you want to touch anything up, just let it dry completely, and then you can always go back in and touch it up after it dries. Having a little hairdryer handy or somebody like Mark to dry it for you. No, you don't have to do it right now. I'm not.
Oh man, my headphones were off.
I know he was. I could see he was
Springing into action.
He was like, "Yes."
Oh, man, so
did somebody say hairdryer?
Somebody say dry?
Yeah. All right, not yet, almost. All right, so technically, ideally, we would wait for this to dry completely. I'm going to try to get my tree in here and then let Mark dry it for me, so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we won't lift off all the colors underneath here. So I'm going to make a turquoise. I'm just picked up a little bit, just kind of scooped up a little bit, kind of like use my brush like a shovel, and then scooped up a little bit of the phthalo green and phthalo blue here. A little bit more green than blue. And mix those together. Maybe pick up a little bit of this burnt sienna and mix that in. That'll make it a little bit more like a pine color. The little bit of brown just kind of tones it down, makes it a little bit more of a pine tree color. So I'm going to put it, if this is my halfway mark, I'm going to put it just off to one side of the halfway. And I'm going to go real high up, start at the top of my tree, and sweep down in layers. So I'm going to go across like that and sweep out on the sides. Excuse me. This is the time of year that I always seem to lose my voice. I don't know why. I think it's the air gets drier maybe. I don't know.
I think that's right.
Yeah. I'm going to try not to lose my voice.
You might use that spray bottle and just spritz in
Spritz
your mouth.
in my mouth
Yeah,
every now and then.
that might help.
I don't know if that would. I'm not going to listen to you.
Well, all this great advice coming from over here. just saying.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. And you can make your tree as wide as you want it to be. I think I'm going to kind of end it right about there so that I have room for my penguin to go here and one penguin to go here. So don't worry about your penguin on this. I will cover over the trees and wherever it happens to cross over. And I'm kind of doing like little arcs. So the bottom of it is not straight across. It kind of does this curve. And each layer has kind of a curve to it as it goes up. It'll kind of make your tree look like it's coming out at you a little bit at the bottom here. This is not supposed to be realistic, so just kind of have fun with it. Do your version of a Christmas tree. It can be different from mine. What are you doing? Mark's hovering over my shoulder here. Sorry, I was distracted.
They can't see me.
I know they can't, but I can.
I'm doing what you told me to do.
Okay. Oh, you're taking video. All right. So now I mixed up a little bit of my yellow, cadmium yellow, picking up from the side so I don't pollute the whole middle of the color, right? I just want to pick up a little bit from the side there, and I picked up a little bit of white, and I'm going to mix and put in some more yellow branches in here. Kind of go down and leave, this time I'm going to leave a little space between my dark branches. So now I'm going to really start to define some layers of my tree a little bit more. Maybe pick up a little bit more white. There we go. Picking up my white underneath here, so it's kind of making my tree a little bit lighter in the bottom here. I'm going to add a little bit of this dark just down here, just so that it shows up against that snow. There we go.
People in chat claim they could see my shadow.
They could. They probably could.
That means it's 4 more weeks of winter.
4 more weeks of winter.
Wait a minute, it's still fall.
And
Sorry.
it's still fall, exactly. So
4 more weeks till winter.
till winter.
Yeah, till winter.
Okay. I like it. Kind of like Groundhog. Reverse Groundhog Day. I'm going to make a little bit more of that dark and just kind of put in a little bit of the dark where I need it. Okay. Cute. Clean my brush out. I want to come out of there. Got a clear glass thing so I could see how much is still left in there. I'll use a paper towel and wipe most of that out of your brush before you try to clean it. All right, now I'm going to pick up some more white here. And here again, every time I pick up a color, kind of pressing down and pushing it down into my brush. And then I'm going to add white to my tree where the snow might fall on it. So kind of at the tips of the branches there. And this time I'm kind of make them a little bit smaller. See that? Maybe do a few little dots. They don't have to be like long brush strokes like we were doing before. This time we can kind of just do little dabs. Yeah. So it's catching on each layer of this tree.
Do the old dabba dabba.
Dabby dabby. Dab, dab, dab. And I'm leaving a little bit of the green underneath, so I'm not going all the way to the edge with this at the bottom because I want to kind of see that bottom of my tree against the snow. So on that side, when I reach the bottom, I'm coming just above it just a little bit, just so I can kind of see a little bit of that tree underneath. Okay, there's our Christmas tree. Cute. First cute. Check. 1. For keeping count. Alrighty, I think that's good. Actually, this is drying fairly quickly for me. So let me put a little bit more blue up here. I noticed that there was a little bit missing up here in this corner. So I'm going to grab a little bit of my ultramarine blue and a little bit of my white. Right in here. It didn't quite go all the way into my canvas there, cover very well. Okay, there we go. That's better. Feel like I'll go ahead and let you dry this, son, because I'm afraid I'm gonna mess it up if I do too much to it. The tree doesn't have to be completely dry, just the background around it. We'll grab our Stickman. This is our mascot, Stickman. Mark drew him. And we add something to him every show. So we'll give him a little penguin sitting over here in the water, or maybe sitting on the bridge right here. And it's really time for a new Stickman. Mark keeps saying he's going to draw us a new one, but he hasn't yet. So until we do get a new one, we'll just keep using this one. This is just a little bit of fun that we like to do to fill time while we're blow drying. And actually the first Stickman came about because Mark was messing around at the Crystal Bridges Museum here in Arkansas where we live. We visited and he was taking pictures with Stickman with all the famous artwork, and then we brought it back to the studio and I needed a scrap piece of paper and I used his drawing of Stickman to do a little doodle, and it turned into this. So it's kind of a regular thing now. Here's our little penguin on the bridge. It worked.
Nice.
It was cute. Okay. There we go. Thank you. Woo. Mark's hand.
I had to get on video.
Yeah. Camera hog. All right, so let's use some chalk and we'll draw out our penguins. So I think the mama penguin, we want to fill up this area here. So I'm going to make her nice and big, and I'm going to do a sort of a bowling pin shape. So you're going to kind of do your circle for the head, and then below it you're going to do a big oval and sort of just dip in on the sides. You can't really see the bottom of it, but hopefully you can see it good enough. And then the feet are going to just be 3 little bumps right there and there. Maybe do it a little bit wider. And then her little flippers are going to come out the sides here. In fact, let's put this one sort of coming up, so she's like reaching to the tree. I'm going to make her head a little bit smaller. There we go. And then her hat's going to come up above and cut off the top of the head a little bit. And do kind of like this, and we'll have a little thing. I'm making her a lot bigger than I did in my example, but I noticed that in the example I felt like she was too far down, so I'm moving her up, making her a little bit bigger. And then for the face, you're going to do like a heart shape, like that, on the forehead, and then curve it around and join it to the bottom. So it's gonna, that white part's gonna go all the way to the bottom and kind of cut off the middle of the belly there. Then the scarf's gonna come across right here, and we'll kind of have it coming up. Sort of ran out of room. Maybe I do need to make her a little bit smaller. Well, I could put the scarf in front. Let's do that. I'll draw the scarf on later. And I think I'm going to make the hat a little smaller too. So we'll do the hat and the scarf later. Just do the top of the head for now. And then for the little baby, we're going to come down a little bit lower and do the same thing, little round head here. And then the body is going to come down like this. Then his face is going to be right here. The heart is going to be a little smaller on this side than this side because he's kind of facing sideways a little bit. And then the belly is going to be closer to the edge on this side and a little bit wider on this back side. And the feet are going to point this way a little bit. I think that'll be good. And then his flippers are going to be out here. And one's going to kind of cut across the body right here. Alright, so now we just want to fill in. Let me grab my angle brush. See? And I'll grab my white. Just scooping it up and pulling it to a cleaner spot because this area got all green. I'm just going to fill in the face. If you're using craft paint, you probably need a couple of coats to cover up your blue. So that's normal. Just know that you're going to have to kind of do a little bit extra. To get it to cover. And by craft paint, I mean, you know, the thinner, cheaper acrylics. They're not quite as expensive, and I think they're a little bit easier for kids to work with because they're more fluid. They go on a little bit more smoothly. They just don't cover quite as well. So there's trade-offs. And fill in the whole middle there. Oops, well. And I'm using the edge of the brush when I get to the side, that's more of that thicker stuff. So I load it the same way. I'm kind of pushing it down, loading it flat. And then when I get around the sides here, I can kind of use the edge of my brush to get a nice fine line there. And then I can sort of smooth out any ridges. And if you're working with kids, you'll want to make sure that you have them go back over once they kind of fill in. They tend to have thick and thin spots. They fill in their paint, so just kind of have them go back over. If you see any thick spots, any ridges in your paint like that, that they just kind of smooth back over it once they get it on there. Real common. Whoops. Brush just slipped out of my hand. All right, so that's good enough. I think we might need a second coat on that, but we'll let that dry because it's starting to get sticky. And we'll fill in this guy. I'm going to go fairly quickly today, because I got a lot of details on this. Try not to make it too long. Keeping it simple. But you can go in and add shading to yours if you wanted to, give your penguin a little bit more dimension. I'll add a little bit of those kind of details, but we're not going to go into as much detail as I might normally do. Just trying to keep it a little bit simpler this time. Okay, so there we go. There's our little penguin guy. Actually, while I've got this white paint on my brush, which I just wiped off, but I'm going to get a little bit more. And I'm going to go under here and I'm just going to kind of scrub side to side with just a little bit of paint. I don't have a lot on my brush, and I'm just going to kind of scrub it side to side. Get a little bit of that white down to make it look like there's some snow down there. Holding it real flat. I'm not going right up to the feet. I'm kind of coming just underneath so that maybe there'll be a little shadow underneath their feet there. Just want to kind of come right in front. Same thing with the tree. Just right up to it, but not quite underneath it, not overlapping it. There we go. So now he's got some kind of foreground snow.
We got a question.
Yes.
Marie wants to know if scrubbing with the brush like that does any damage to it.
I mean, you don't want to... The way I'm doing it, I'm kind of letting it sort of work side to side like this. You wouldn't want to push down really hard and make the bristles flare out when you did it. Like, you don't want to scrub straight down with it. But if you kind of do it side to side gently like that, it doesn't damage it, or especially if you kind of did it this way and kind of brushed it this way. I wouldn't push this way against it, though. I would kind of, if I was going to do it that way, I would sort of do in one direction. But when you do it kind of side to side like this with it pointing this way, it doesn't put as much pressure on those bristles. But if you were to push this way, push, 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 then it could make those bristles like flare out and break them. So yeah, that's a good question. You could do that part with a stiffer bristled brush, like one of these, and then you wouldn't have to worry about that. Like the Deerfoot Stippler would, you know, give you that kind of scrumbly effect. Scumbled, that's the word I'm looking for. Scumbled effect. So,
is that truly a word?
It is. It is a word. It's a painting term. Scumbled. We've had this conversation before.
Yeah,
you looked it up in the dictionary even.
I know I looked up something, but
don't make me get out the dictionary again. All right, so now I'm going to grab my round brush. This is kind of a, I don't know, about a 1/4 inch round maybe. This is the number 2 round, if they're following the Princeton line, want to know. And we'll just go ahead and use that to fill in our black and give us a little bit more control in some of these smaller areas. And just carefully go around where you've painted your penguin. If you go over the edge a little bit, don't worry about it. You can kind of come up back over it with the white later if you need to, or you can always wait for that white to dry, and then if you got a little bit of the black in it or on the white, you can use a wet paper towel and wipe it off if you catch it right away. So if I kind of come out here where I don't want it to go, I can take my wet paper towel and just wipe that off real quickly, and it'll come right off. Don't scrub it real hard, and make sure you don't let it set too long because you don't want it to dry at all, but it'll come right off. So having like some baby wipes handy might be helpful when you're working on it with kids. Then they can keep their hands clean, and also you can kind of help them wipe off any mistakes if they feel like they need to do it.
Kids and husbands.
And husbands, yes. I think you want to paint, secretly want to paint one of these because you keep mentioning.
We need to have a camera over here so I can do it, but.
He keeps mentioning husbands, like, you know.
Yeah.
Sigh. I wish
I could.
It sure looks fun.
Wish I could paint a tank.
Paint a tank with Christmas lights on it. And if you don't want to do the Christmas thing, you just want to kind of, you know, leave your tree, a regular tree, that's cool too. You can, you know, leave it out a little bit longer during the winter time maybe then. Doesn't have to be a Christmas themed Christmas tree. You can just have them hanging out in front of the tree with their little hats and gloves on. Lots of ways to personalize this. I'm going to go ahead and put a line just underneath, all the way across. Okay, let's do the arms. Now the arms are going to come out right where that dip is. They're going to come out from there. So that's kind of the neck area, the shoulder area maybe. That. This one will be up here. Curved up, curve it around, and then back out a little bit wider where it hits the body. There. Let's do a little baby one. He probably doesn't want to be called a baby. He's probably a little bit older than that. Toddler. child. This really is the hardest part of this whole tutorial, is just kind of doing this black part, trying to kind of take your time and get it carefully around this white. So spray my palette down. Let me get a little sticky.
In your throat? No?
No.
Okay.
Just filling this whole thing in here. We'll put his little flipper coming down this way. I'll be holding the Christmas lights over here.
They have a pretty cool penguin exhibit at the Atlanta Aquarium. Remember that?
Yes.
They had where you could kind of climb up and stand up in these plexiglass
that's
things.
right,
So
yes.
that you're in the middle of the habitat.
Balloon, yeah, the little bubble things, so you're like swimming with them.
Yep.
In the tank. Yep. I forgot about that. The Atlanta Aquarium was amazing. I want to go back to Atlanta just to go there. Like, it was it's totally worth the trip. Seriously. We happened upon it because we were driving through. Just, happened to be like across from our hotel. And we were like, let's check that out. It's like the largest aquarium in the U.S. or something. Largest tank. Maybe in the world. I can't remember. The largest indoor.
Largest something.
Is big. Is ginormous. It had whale sharks. Like several whale sharks, not just one. And huge manta rays that were like 6 foot wide. Unreal. All in the same tank. Like with all these fish and sharks and everything. It's just unbelievable. Okay, I want to go back now. I shouldn't have said that. I feel like his little back end here needs to be a little wider. I feel like he's going to fall over. He needs a little more. There we go. Cute. Number 2.
Okay, they say that the tank is 10 million U.S. gallons.
10 million U.S. gallons. I believe it. It was enormous. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's do this one a little bit down right here over the top of our white, and hopefully the white's dry enough that it's not going to lift it.
So it was the largest aquarium in the world from 2005 to 2012.
Oh, somebody beat it, huh?
Yep, somebody in Singapore.
Curse you, Singapore.
But Atlanta's a little bit closer for us. So.
Huh?
Atlanta's closer for us.
A little bit closer than Singapore, yeah.
Yeah.
It's still impressive. All right, there we go. Clean that brush out, and we'll use some of that.
Okay, so I had fake news out there.
What?
So they have 10 million total gallons. Their largest tank is 6.3 million gallons.
Oh, okay.
So there you
it's
go.
Not all in one. Gallon.
Right, yeah. So don't even waste your time going now. Rinky dink. It's like a bathtub, basically.
Got your hopes up. I mean, I'm just like, whatever.
10 million gallons.
All right, so let's give them little feets here. Doop, doop, doop. 3 little dots there. paint is getting really clumpy. You can definitely tell the difference with the humidity and the paint's drying out a lot faster for me than it was this summer when it's so humid out. I need to get a humidifier in the studio here. Seriously.
Okay, I'll add it to the list.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
About a 10 million gallon one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'll run down to Walmart, be right back.
There we go. Get some little feet. Tuck those up right up to the black there. I mixed a little bit of the yellow in with my orange just to kind of soften the color up a little bit. And I think that's dry enough that I can put another coat on it now. Make it nice and bright white. Ooh, I still had some orange in my brush, came out there, but that's all right. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of my phthalo blue. Look at how little bit, and that just turned like so bright blue. That phthalo blue is so highly concentrated. Grab a little bit more white here. Try to tone that down a little bit. Wipe off the extra with just a little bit in my paintbrush. I'm going to go right along that edge right there. Just a little tiny bit of paint in my brush. Let's do the same thing on this guy. Give it a little shadow on the underside of the belly. It doesn't have to be fully blended in, just a little. Detail there. Let me grab some more white and we'll do a little bit of a second coat on my face. And this is where I can kind of clean up any edges that I have on my black that maybe got out of hand. So you probably won't need more than one coat of the black. It covers pretty well. Oops, picked up black there. Well, he's going to have a little bit of gray on this side. Just blend that in.
And when you say whoops, I'm conditioned to think you're off camera.
Oh.
It's like, oh no.
You were looking.
Oh, right. No, she's on camera. Okay. I didn't screw up this time.
Nope. I just picked up some little bit of black there. Let's put that blue back in right here. There we go. Okay. I actually kind of like the gray over there that happened. That's a mistake, but happy accident. Alrighty. Let me see. I think I might be able to get that beak in there. We'll see. We'll try. Let's see how it goes. The white may be too sticky.
Okay, so Monica asked, why do penguins carry fish in their beaks?
Why?
Because they have no pockets. That's what you're missing if you're not in live chat, folks.
I like it. Say that again.
Why do penguins carry fish in their beaks?
Because they don't have any pockets.
Yep.
Got it. I like it. Okay, so I'm coming just down from the peak right there, and I'm going to make a diamond shape. So I'm going to make this kind of, why don't you zoom in here on this, hon? So this one's kind of pointing sideways. So we're going to have a diamond right here. It's going to be tall right there. Come out, and then the bottom part is a little bit smaller. And it's going to point to the side and down just a little bit, like that. And then this one is kind of facing straight down at us. So we will, felt wet there, I don't know what I did. I'm going to put the eyes right there and there. So I'm going to make the beak up right up in here. So we're going to do kind of a curved line. And then a triangle at the bottom there. So sort of a diamond shape almost, but the top is curved. You can make this little really small, you can make it wider. You know, depending on how you kind of do these beaks, it really changes sort of the personality of the birds. So if you do them really tiny, they can kind of have a little bit more, I don't know, just different styles. So just whatever makes you happy. Is this side on camera too? No? Okay. Just making sure. Okay, thanks. Alright, so I'm gonna use my wet paper towel here and just sort of gently wipe off my chalk lines. Here we go. And I think this black's pretty dry, so I'm going to go ahead and grab some black, a little bit of white, well, a lot of white, a little bit of black. I'm going to make a dark gray. I'm going to highlight these flippers with just a line, maybe to the side of the body a little bit. Zoom out, hon. There we go. So we're just doing kind of lines on the inside of the black. Just a little bit to highlight our little penguins somewhat.
We were busy making up names for them.
Oh, what's the names?
I submitted Pen and Gwen.
I like it. Pen and Gwen.
Yep.
Kind of like Penn and Teller, but I like it. Pretty clever, huh?
I crack myself up.
And me too. Okay, let's draw in our... What did I do with my chalk? There it is. It rolled underneath. Let's draw in our hats. So our Santa hat's going to kind of come cut off that part of the head, and then it's going to kind of curve up and out and back down. We have a little ball right there. And then the mama's cap is going to kind of curve around the sides of the face and cut off the top part of the head right there. And then come up a little bit like that. And then we'll have like a little fluff ball on top. Then the scarves are going to come across here. And I'll go ahead and put this one sort of right in the middle of the body. And I'm not going to try to draw it because it's going to just lift off the paint. I don't want to do that. Alright, so I'm going to use this brush here for the smaller details. So we'll use the red, cadmium red, medium, and you could do these caps and hats any colors you want. Be really cute. So anytime that you can kind of give kids their own choice of personalizing, I always did that, so they always had better ideas than me usually for what things should look like. So I would always give them, we would get up to this point of it and then start letting them sort of make their own color choices and things like that. Do all the main parts together, but then let them personalize it. Okay, there we go. Just going back and smoothing out any areas there. And I decided to go ahead and do both of their hats red just to kind of unify the color scheme, but like I said, you can do whatever you want. You could give her a different color if you wanted to. And I'm gonna curve out a little bit. With these brush strokes. We'll create a little bit of texture in our paint, maybe, with the way we're putting on the hat. Let me pick up a little bit of white here, make a little bit softer red, and go back over this part with that. Leave a little space in between. There we go. Pick up a little bit more white, and we'll do some little stripes. Just using the edge of my brush and pulling it around the side. There. I'll do another one right here. And then go back in and kind of brighten up with some stripes like that. You can use a liner brush if you can't find enough lines with this. You can use like a smaller brush for it, and I'm going to do a little puff lines on the top of the hat, like that. Cute. Can't help it. It just comes out. Can't help saying cute. The hats is what does it to me every time. It's when you put the hats on the little birds. It's just something about hats, glasses, anything like that. It multiplies the cuteness factor. So I'm grabbing a big glob of white here, trying to get some that's clean. And I'm just going to use the corner of my brush here and just smush, 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 smush. Create these little smushy shapes. You could switch to a brush like this and do it that way if you want to. You could use a little round brush. Whatever works for you. Just creating, kind of smushing that corner of my brush out so that it kind of creates these little fluffy edges. And I'm really kind of paying attention mostly to these outside edges so that you get this kind of irregular shape. That's what gives it that little fluffy look. There's a little Santa hat. Easy as that. Okay, let's grab some green here. And a little bit of our phthalo blue to make that sort of teal color. Then we'll add white to soften it up. Maybe a little bit more blue. We'll make it a little bit more on the teal blue side. There we go. I'm just going to go straight across and come outside the edge just a little bit so that, you know, that scarf is kind of thick, so it's not going to go end right at the neck. It's going to kind of come around a little bit outside. There. Let me grab a little bit of that phthalo green and go a little darker right up underneath. And then we'll figure out where we want to put the top of the scarf and just kind of come up, over, and down. Gonna need a couple coats. It's not covering very well. We need a little bit more white to help cover over the dark parts. There we go.
So Candace asked, what do penguins wear on their heads?
What?
Ice caps.
Almost afraid of asking. It was one of those that could go either way. It was cute. Cute. Go a little bit longer here. There we go. Okay, we'll have to let that set. We'll probably need another coat because that's not covering right there very well. And let's do his little scarf with blue. Grab some phthalo blue. Mix it with a little bit of white. Dip it down a little bit. I'm going to come up and out. And this one's going to kind of come down on his body there a little bit. If you had a little more room over here, I could bring it off to the side, but I can't fit it in there. We made him a little bit bigger than my example. Okay. Good. I'm going to grab some of that phthalo blue and I'm just going to tap to do the little fringe. Tap with the brush. Grab a little bit of white. Tap again. There you go. You might zoom in for that part. I think it'd be helpful to see a little bit better. Don't do it here. Tap, 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 tap. Create that little fringe. Like that. Let me get some light green mixed up here. So the green and white. We'll go over the top of that. There we go. Give it a little highlight right there. Maybe a little bit right there and a little bit right there. We'll leave these areas dark so that it looks like it's a shadow. And just put a little bit of highlight in the places where we want it to look like it's kind of coming forward a little bit more. There we go. Let me add a little bit of this white. Our fringe. Okay, so same thing on our boy penguin. I'm gonna clean out my brush a little bit, pick up some white, and just a little bit of that blue. We have a nice little bit lighter blue to work with. And I'm gonna come up over there and up this way. Leave it dark right there. Maybe highlight right there. So I'm kind of just lifting off before I get to the end so that I have a sort of blended edge there. If you get too much, you can always pick up a little bit more of that blue and come back this way and cover up anything that you want to cover. And this one, I think I want a little bit darker green right here. So I'm going to get a little bit of that green and just pull it down from right there. All right. I don't want to mess with it too much. Clean that out. Pick up some white. And it has a little bit of blue in it, but that's okay. And I'm going to create little stripes, just setting my brush on the side and pulling some lines. These ones are going to go across this way. Try to space them evenly, but it doesn't really matter all that much. Go. And then on her scarf, we'll use our we'll grab a little bit smaller round brush and some of that white and make little polka dots. Just dabbing. If you're using craft paint, you can use the end of a brush or a toothpick to make really fine little dots. There. Don't forget this little side over here. Alrighty, let's put their eyes on now. They won't look so creepy. some black. And you can use a toothpick or the back end of a brush for this as well, especially if you're using like more fluid paint, that you can get some really nice little dots. I'm using that. I'm gonna pick up some black and kind of pull my brush to a point so it has a good pointed end on it. I can get it to work that way. And I'm gonna come kind of almost parallel with the top of the beak there and do my 2 eyes pretty low there and there. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Keep them fairly low, close to the beak. Cute. You could do eyelashes. You could get all kinds of, you know, fancy with it. However you want to do up your little penguin.
Put on sunglasses.
Yep, sunglasses. Be cute. I'm mixing some yellow with some white here. I'm going to put a little highlight on the top of the beaks. There, just a little line there and there. And let's do the feet too. It's a little highlight on the tips of the toes. Just little dabs. Add a little detail. Grab a little bit of burnt sienna. Mix that with that yellow that I've got on my brush to soften it. And I'm going to use it to kind of outline the bottom of the beak. You can totally leave this part out if it's a little bit too difficult for young ones. But you can give them kind of a separation on the beak there. Do the bottom beak a little bit darker than the top. There we go. Let's use that light blue that we used on the body earlier. We'll water it down a little bit. We're going to go right up underneath our scarf to give it a little shadow and come along the side of the face, underneath the beak, just a little bit. Just to kind of shadow that face and give that just one little extra layer of detail right there. Just that tiny little shadow adds a lot of character. That watered down blue. And you could add a little bit to the hat as well if you want. Add a little bit of that blue to the bottom of the poof ball on your Santa hat. I'm going to add a little bit more paint over the top of my scarf there because it covered up a little bit of it. Okay. Go, and then if you want to, you can also put a little teeny tiny highlight in the eyes. This definitely would be a toothpick type of thing. Try to get it on the inside so it doesn't touch the black. Just give them each a little teeny tiny dot on the eyes. Alright, so let's get a liner brush, and I'm going to grab some titanium white. That's my fluid titanium. It'll make it a little bit easier to paint lines with. And or if you're using thicker paint, just water it down quite a bit using this liner brush. We'll put in some snowflakes. Let me see if I can clean up the hat here. There we go. Oh yeah, I was going to put a little highlight on this hat too. Don't let me forget.
The pressure.
Big lines here. This is another thing you could either leave out or use a paint pen if you have a white paint pen. I'm going to do crisscross and then in between. Crisscross and then in between, a little bit shorter in between lines. Maybe a nice big one up here. And then a little one down here. Okay. I'm going to use the tip of the brush or stylus with my paint and do some dots. Dot, dot, dot. And you could just dot the ends of them and call it good. Or if you want to get fancy, you can do little V shapes inside. Like that.
Let me zoom in on one so they can see me doing that.
So we can do some V shapes here in between. That, and then dot. This liner brush has got some stray hairs on it. I need to get And really, if you use the back end of a brush, you can, or a stylus, let me do that, or even a pencil lead. Let's use a pencil lead to show you how that works. Here, I'll use this. Dab in the white on the pencil lead, and
what kind of sorcery is that?
Works real well. Depending on how big the pencil lead is, it'll make bigger dots.
Can you use a screwdriver?
I'm sure you could.
Okay, here, I'll get you one real quick.
If it was round. No, the screwdriver is kind of square, isn't it? We're trying to do it quietly. I don't think I have a Phillips head in there. I have the Phillips head in my drill. So I don't think I want to use my drill head on this. Probably not.
Okay, I got the screwdriver.
Give it up.
I can use it.
What?
I got the screwdriver.
Oh God.
Oh God. Did you just say, oh God?
Maybe.
Okay. Where do I do the white dot?
Right here. You're not going to be able to see where you're putting it. Right there.
On the end right here?
Uh-huh. Good job.
See? What are you fixing it for?
Because it was not quite round.
Okay, I'll put it in the water.
Thanks, son. These snowflakes are super fun, so you could fill up your whole sky with them if you want to. You could do a whole painting just with these. of things you can do with them. This one's a little bit long, so I'm going to put 3 on this one. There we go. Okay, got some snowflakes. Like I said, we can stop at this point if you want to. Kind of.
Do I get a vote?
Yes, do you vote? Go vote. Go for it.
I say no.
Don't stop?
Don't stop.
Okay. All right. Mark got to eat before we started, so he's happy. Adding a little bit more white to my little poof ball on the top of this guy's head. There we go. Looking for my flat bright here. I'm gonna add a little bit of highlight to the top of his hat. Adding white to my cadmium red. I'm just gonna swoop in a little bit of, there we go, highlight up there on the top. If I get too much, you can grab a little bit more red, tone it down. There. Gives a little extra detail. I went with a little bit smaller eyes on this one than these. I think it's kind of cuter to me, but you can do them bigger if you want to. With these ones, I did them kind of more like teardrop shapes, and I put the little eyelashes on the bottom. But I kind of like the smaller ones, and I moved the beak up too because I felt like the beak was a little bit low. So I moved the beak up to between the eyes as well. So that's the kind of difference between my example one and the one I'm doing tonight. Sometimes you notice things after you kind of finish it that you want to change. So,
well, people also notice that it looks like that there's a little less cloudiness in the background too, possibly.
Yeah, yeah, I probably did the background a little bit brighter. I did the background a little different. I had snow slopes on the example one, but it got so covered up you really couldn't tell. So I just decided to kind of do it a little simplified. So. Okay, I'm going to put a star at the top of our Christmas tree here. So I'm going to press my flat brush nice and flat. And I'm going to make our little star, kind of like what we did with the snowflakes. Just like that. And if you wanted to, you could get a little white. Do extra glow around it. Oops, I don't know why that did that. My paint's getting sticky. There we go. You can see it. Alright, I'm going to put out some fresh paint so that I don't have to fight with it while I'm making my little Christmas lights. One thing I was going to say is if you have the thinner paints, you can do your Christmas lights by well, I'll wait to show you that in a second. I got to get my lines on first. If I can find my liner brush that's fallen down in the water there. Disappeared. So I'm going to put out my fluid black, or grab your Sharpie marker. Or now Sharpie will fade if you leave it in the sun. So if you want, permanent marker, you can invest in like a Pigma or one of these pens. I've got links to both of those down in the description. Those are permanent and waterproof, so you can varnish over them. Add a little bit of water to my fluid black here, my liner brush. And then I'm just going to start doing some wiggly lines. I'm going to go ahead and right off the canvas over here. That must be where it's plugged in. Do a nice thin line. These ones are kind of draped up behind the arm, maybe over the top. Curving in front of the tree there. Up over his arm. Down around. My liner brush is not working for me. It is splitting on me.
God, I hate when that happens.
I know.
I get so frustrated when my liner brush splits on me like that. Don't you just hate that?
Well, it was creating two lines at once right there.
That's why I use a screwdriver.
Screwdriver.
It doesn't do that.
Doesn't do that. Okay.
No. And we got some requests from chat here. If you could make it look like it's really difficult to do the lights, they would appreciate it.
Make it look like it's really difficult?
Yeah, they said that you make the snowflakes look too easy and stuff, so.
Oh, okay.
Just like really struggle with it.
Struggle with it a little bit more?
Yeah. Could you, okay. Yeah, please. Thanks.
Try. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Too funny. Okay, I don't think I'm going to put them all up in my tray this time. It's just going to take too long tonight. I'm kind of... but you can put them... Just wiggle lines across your tree as well if you want to put them up in your tree. But I'm going to go every other. I'm going to just do like a little dot to space out my little Christmas lights here. And depending on what side I want them to fit. So we do one here, do one here. Just think about where they're going to be and where you might have room for one to fit. So this one's going to have to be in this direction. This one can kind of come up this way. Can do another one up this way. Just doing little lines wherever I want my little Christmas lights. Super chat.
Yes, we got a super chat from Michelle. And she said, just because these are so cute.
Oh. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Super chat donations. Moo.
forgot to turn that off.
All right, just doing little dots, little sockets for our little lights to come out of. I'm trying to space them evenly as I can. Doesn't really have to be perfect. Don't think anybody's going to measure. There, and then maybe one more. Pull this out just a little bit. One more right there. Okay. There's our little Christmas lights. I'm going to grab a number 1 round. That should be about the size that you want your Christmas lights, so that when you kind of flatten it out, you get about the size that you want your bulbs to be. So, and I was going to show you with this, if you wanted to do them, if you have the thinner paints, you can do your Christmas bulbs just by doing a dot and then using a pencil or something to kind of pull it out into like a little shape.
Yeah, I'm zooming in so they can see that better.
So here, dot, let me see, orange, yellow, green, blue, red, right here. That's how you do it. Dot, and then use like a toothpick or another brush or something to kind of draw that end out. It's probably the easiest way of doing them. I'm going to use it with the brush though.
I got the screwdriver over here if you need it.
Is it okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
You're not reaching for it?
No, not.
Okay.
And I probably would put out fresh paint at this point so that you have smooth application. Yellow, orange, green, or orange, yellow, green, blue, red. And really, you could kind of set your brush down this way and just sort of plop it down and lift. I'm going to go back over this and do them so they match. So this is a little bit bigger. Paint there. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. Right here.
I can hear you counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5.
Wait. Oh, I did it the wrong place. Shoot.
Oh, man, that was
There's
ruined.
4 in between, not 5 in between.
Ruined.
I caught it while it was still wet, though.
Oh, you are so lucky.
There we go. It goes right here. One, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Right here. And if you're doing this with kids, they're not going to care about the separation, so just let them go crazy with it. They're not going to want to, well, maybe you could make it into a counting exercise, who knows. So there's probably 1 back here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll do my red one right here. That's awfully big. I know what you want to say there.
I don't know what you're
You were
talking
thinking
about.
it. You were thinking it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, got a little happy there with the
One
bell.
more.
Super chat from Tina.
Thank you, Tina.
And she says, Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for all you do for us.
Oh,
I second that.
we love it. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you, too. Hope you guys have safe travels if you're going someplace. Not too stressful. No, family time can be stressful. I think I was off camera there. Probably. For that last two. Mark was busy super chatting it.
Super chatting and stuff.
Didn't let me know there, sorry.
Okay, pretend like you're doing it.
It's all right. They've seen it. Now this is just like repeat over and over again now. Not as exciting. That's the first time. That's why I'm not doing the whole tree. Because it's going to take forever. Okay. Yeah, so we'll do them this way. My paint definitely sticky. Okay, I'm not going to fight it. I'm just going to put it in paint. Not worth it. Much better. If it doesn't cover, just add a little white to your paint. And that will help it cover. Then you can come back in with the, I'm going to wipe this one off because it started out with the thicker paint. It's just not wanting to lay down. Adding the white will make it more opaque. And then you can come back in with the color that you want it to be and give it a second coat. I'm going to turn this so that I can just kind of plop it down. To create that shape. That's right here. These are actually really fun. They're kind of, you know, monotonous because they're all kind of done the same way, but it's actually really good to do some of these repetitive things from time to time because it actually really helps your brush control. It's like practicing brush strokes or something. Doing anything repetitive like this will help you learn muscle control with your hand. That repetitive acts can help build that muscle memory and anything that kind of helps us with our painting is a plus. Makes it easier. The more we do it, it's just, you know, anything we practice like that. It gets easier over time. There we go. Yellow. overlapping ginger time here. Sorry, guys. Watch both of us. Just trying to get it done in an hour and a half, but the Christmas lights did us in.
I mean, for this to be more realistic, they should have them all just in a big jumbled ball.
That's true.
That they can't
all
separate.
tangled up.
Yeah. Because we know that penguins hang Christmas lights on trees, so.
Make it more realistic.
Oh, somebody said no ginger tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go.
We can go all night long. That tree's getting some killer lights on it.
On Saturday this week, we're going to be having a recording instead of being live. It's for the holiday. So we're going to be with family. And we're going to be uploading the fantasy deer that we recorded for Patreon a couple months ago. So it's got the tree branch antlers. It's a kind of a realistic looking deer. You want to grab it for me, hun? I think it's... Oh, no. It's right here. Right here. You can see it. So that'll be uploaded on Saturday. Oh, well, you can see it. Got little birds in it. And then I did the Santa on Sunday this week. This is one of my Patreon only bonus videos for this month. So if you want to learn how to do this one, it's a $5 charge for the monthly Patreon thing, and it actually includes the cornucopia from last month as well. So 2 for 1 if you're interested in learning how to paint Santa. The link to Patreon is up in the iCards and down in the description. It's patreon.com/AngelaFineArt. So already starting to see some Santas coming in painted. They're looking good. And I do those extra long videos once a month for Patreon folks, and they get to vote on what they want to see in my special Facebook group for patrons as well. So I have no idea what we're painting in December, but it's going to be good. All right, so some green. Need some white. Oh, I actually didn't do green. I did blue. Never mind. Phthalo blue. White. Add a little bit of white to it. Blue. Yeah, I think I decided that the green didn't show up against the Christmas tree. Go. And that will be the last one there, and that one. Almost done. Getting there. And then this Dioxazine purple is going to be the last little Christmas balls. We'll put some white in it because Dioxazine purple by itself is going to be black it's going to look like a black against your canvas. So you definitely have to add white to it or it will be too dark to discern the color. So there we go. Oh, it turned out watery for some reason. There. So that'd be one back here. Hiding. And then to finish them, you're going to just take some smaller brush here and some white. You can use a little bit of yellow in it maybe to kind of make it look a little glowy. So I can get some clean white. A little bit of yellow, very little bit of yellow, mostly white. And we're going to pick a side and just do a little streak on these to highlight them. You could also do them in the color of the bulb, so you could use like a light red, a light orange, a light yellow, light blue, light purple. I'm kind of cheating and skipping that step here, but that makes it look even more kind of realistic. But it's a lot more tedious because you're changing a lot of colors, so I'm just going to do it with this color and we'll call it good. Oops. Picking up that purple because it's still wet. There we go. There's the little Christmas lights. So cute. And last thing we're going to do is sprinkle it with some, splatter it with some white snow. Grab my toothbrush or my fan brush. Well, you want very watery paint. It's not watery enough, it just won't come off the brush. If it's too watery, you'll get this huge clumps. So you kind of want it maybe milk consistency. Think about that. It should look like milk. And then tap it on your paper towel to get off any extra. And then I'm going to just tap with one finger. Hold it firm with one hand and tap with the other finger to get off these little snowflakes. And make sure you're pointing it down at your canvas and not at your brother. Because you will get it. Especially if you're using a toothbrush, it's going to go wherever you're pointing it. So if you're holding it, your toothbrush like this, you want to point it straight down at the canvas. Because it's going to splatter straight down. And there we go. So little penguins. Hope you try it. Hope you enjoyed the painting today. If you did, give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will see you back next Tuesday for another tutorial. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye.